Hey guys, just thought I'd make a video about this since I haven't been able to find a whole lot of information regarding tuning CP3 or CP4 diesels. If you want to use the software that I'm using, it's HpTuners VCM editor. You can get it free on their website and try it out, but to actually use it you'll need one of their HpVI devices. I have HpVI 1. They've got 2, which is Bluetooth now. I don't have any experience with this one, but it does give you the same access to the software and a couple extra vehicles. They're also coming out with a newer version. If you want to check out everything you can tune with HpTuners, there's a really long list right here. I'm not endorsed by them, but I do like their product. It's not perfect for diesel tuning, but you can tune a lot of stuff with it. We're going to start with my truck, the 08 LMM. And you're going to go into the base rates for each of your pilot and post injections. And you're going to set these tables to all zeros. You may have to add more fuel after you do this to your main table, but I personally already had my fuel raised up in the first place, so I haven't noticed any lack of power. If anything, it just makes more. Yeah, we'll check that out. All zeros, and these are your fueling rates in millimeters cubed. I'm going to go through each one of those. There's really no need to adjust any adjusters, because if you're already on 0, you don't need to. Same with multipliers. Adders are a little bit different. You will need to zero out those, and we'll get to looking at some Cummins tunes in a minute and some older Duramaxes. You're going to go into your main injection, and if you want that crack at idle, that knocking sound, really somewhere between 18 and 22 millimeters cubed in the idle range will work, and that'll give you that fast chop. If you want a smoother idle, you just go down a little bit. The one thing you do want to do is try and keep all of these numbers the same. If you want it to lope and surge, then you'll make these numbers smaller as they go up, and then this side bigger. As you can see here, I've got all these set on 21. That works for my truck. On newer trucks, you've got each one of these tables. I live at low altitude, so you're going to have to adjust these based on where you're at. As far as making more power goes, on newer LMM trucks, I've found that really over about 110 millimeters cubed in this range starts to drop the rail pressure a little bit, unless you've got dual fuels. You can go pretty high though on these trucks. Mine has still got the stock transmission, stock air filter. It runs great. I've never limped it. And you could probably go more than what I've got here. This is quite a bit over stock, and I've made it more linear, like a mechanical diesel. So we'll close this and we'll go over to check out some older ones. So this is an LB7, same thing. You're going to have on this truck only a pilot injection, and you're going to go into pilot quantity and set this table to 0, or you can disable it with this by setting the enable fuel really high. I would prefer to just leave that and then change this. And then with your fueling, same thing. These tables are a little bit different. They're by TPS instead of torque, which is a lot easier. Same thing, you're going to go into this range, your idle section, and say right about here. And you could add more in this part. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I mean, you're really never going to get into this 0 range, but that'll give it a nice crack on startup. That's what you're into. I would leave this like this with this hard edge. I would not smooth this. You can a little bit, but like I said, if it's not as consistent, you're going to get surging, regardless of what you're working on. Let's go look in an LMM, or excuse me, LLY. Same thing. Base fueling table is right here. If you see, this truck's already got more fuel, so might already have a nice sound to it. LLYs already have quite a bit more fuel. I will say on these trucks you can go past that 3600 limiter. On LMMs with HpTuners you cannot. But these trucks will limp the transmission a lot quicker as soon as you start to get over about 105, somewhere in there. MM3. And we'll go check the Cummins. I've got two here. I've looked at both of these and they look the same for the most part inside, but we'll start with the 5.9. Same thing, pilot injection. This one they call transient, and on this one you have adders. You want to go in these and remove these as well. Same thing here. Set that all to 0. Same here. This truck already doesn't have any. Some may, some might not. So if you go into either your steady state or your transient fuel on these trucks, you've got a much smaller range, but it looks like already these trucks probably going to have enough fuel. I mean, Cummins already kind of knock like that anyways. I mean, we're trying to make a 12-valve tune, right? But if you go to, if you've got a newer truck, like this 6.7 tune here, it's got a lot wider range on its fueling states. So on this one, if you want more of that fast Lope idle, again, just going to set this, probably start around 18. That seems to be pretty smooth on most trucks, and then you just go up in 1 increments. I would not go past probably 25 on idle fueling. You're going to get into diesel washing, depending on how much you idle your truck. And on this truck, it's still got the same thing. You're going to remove all these in your pre-pilot injection and your post-injection. This truck's got more tables, same thing. You're going to go through on all those air densities. And again, you may need to add slightly more fuel to your base fuel maps depending on what you're working on. I would just drive it and see first, but really all of this tuning stuff as far as fueling goes should apply to any CP3 or CP4 truck. Timing is quite a bit more advanced, but there are plenty of calculators online, and just adding a bit of fuel is usually safer to start out if you're doing it yourself. But yeah, I hope this helps. Good luck.